All right. Oh, I love this.
So they be prosecuted.
Hold on. Okay, so we're back for part 2, X versus Z, the Roe v. Wade. So you were saying we ended part 1 with you talking about the ridiculous laws of prosecuting these women and how they and the doctor will get more time than a rapist, which is
and
insanity.
You can be sued. You can be sued by the father of the fetus and his family. Each individual, not just like the entire family, can get $10,000. Like each individual family member can sue you up to $10,000 for aborting that fetus. So that's what concerns me about these companies that are doing this, because it's just like, yeah, it's like within. It's like.
No, it's not a perfect system.
It's not perfect. It's just, it concerns me of the backlash that the women will face. Now, I don't know what the backlash the companies will face, and it's probably backlash that they can afford. But a lot of these women, like,
and
a lot
of them talking about if they get found out through somebody in the company, because this money is definitely a reason for somebody to get all up in your biz and turn you in.
And it could be as simple as a coworker who just doesn't like you. It's like, oh, I don't like her, and I can get $10,000. Bet.
No, and this is where she and I don't necessarily agree 100%. Being a person who does work in HR, I understand the confidentiality. At the same token, you can't keep everything secure. Mm-mm. You just can't. I prefer to see companies stepping up and saying, hey, we can't overturn the decision, but we sure enough can help support our employees. And it's sad that they have to do that. They're sad that they have to do this, or that they feel the need to do this, because we live in a country where these rights have been stripped. But the fact that there is another resource, I think that what is going to happen, is that there are going to have to be resources for women. There's going to have to be undercover work. And that's one of the things that you said you had heard about, this undercover. I don't want to say undercover. It sounds like I'm in a 80s movie.
It's not undercover. But they do help fly and bus women out to states that aren't banned. And they did this before Roe v. Wade was overturned. Because states like Florida and Texas, they had like laws like SB 8, which didn't ban abortion, but it banned it at 6 weeks, which most women don't know they're pregnant until after.
Georgia, that clown tried to signed that bill.
Yeah, he's too scared to say nothing now. I just want to have a little conversation with him, see what's going on.
Just get the trolling his butt on Twitter again.
I want to troll him in person.
So you already mentioned about The Handmaid's Tale and how this reminds you of that. And I look at that and I say that's extreme. But I also think that...
I don't think it's extreme.
That overturning an abortion... Remember when you and I were watching it and we were like, okay, this didn't happen overnight. When I'm referring to as Handmaid's Tale, okay, so, and then you know how slowly they went back and showed how things started changing.
So if you have watched The Handmaid's Tale, okay, so I'm a Gen Zer, so a lot of people in my generation are saying stop comparing what's happening to The Handmaid's Tale because this happened to, BIPOC people. The reason why I'm comparing it to Handmaid's Tale is not because I think it hasn't happened to BIPOC people. I know it has. I've seen the history. It's depressing. But that's not why I'm saying it. Why I'm saying it is in season 2, the first few episodes, they show you how it got to where it was. And if y'all don't know, I'll give like a brief overview of what it is. I'm not going to go into details, but basically, the women there are treated like incubators. So that's all I'm going to say, really. Just, you should watch it. It's on Hulu. It's a good show, but it's a bit depressing.
I got so sick of Handmaid's Tale. I got so sick of Miss June.
Stop watching it.
I was like, is she ever going to leave?
First of all, June was getting on my nerves. We're not talking about
her. All the way on my nerves. I was like, oh my God, you're so annoying. Get out already. Now, as a mother, I understand her point of view and not want to leave her daughter because I have to. But dang, she was annoying.
She was. But the reason why I was saying it compares to The Handmaid's Tale is because of how they got to where they were. They
Mhm.
slowly took away women's rights, overturned abortion. Women weren't allowed to own property. And I'm not saying we haven't got to that point where we can't own property, but don't think about the petty laws that they overturned in Handmaid's Tale. Think about the bigger picture about how they took away rights that women already had. And that's exactly what's happening right now. So that's why I compare it to Handmaid's Tale. It's not because it didn't happen before. It's because of how they got to where they were. And it concerns me that this country is going backwards because, what's his name? Clarence? That black man.
Thomas.
That raccoon on the Supreme Court. I said raccoon.
Okay.
Oh my god.
What he wants to do, yeah.
What he wants to do, it kind of aligns with because if you don't know, I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Okay, we're not going to do that.
I'm not going to go into my conspiracy theories. I'm not going to do that. But one of the conspiracy theories I had, he literally said, and it concerns me because he wants to overturn, what is it? It was Board of Education, right? Let me see. What does Clarence want to?
Clarence got so much foolishness. So while she looks that up, we're gonna. I do not. I want to talk about
gay rights.
Yes, he definitely said something about getting rid of gay marriage, and again, if you don't want to be gay married, don't get gay married. You see how your life continues.
That's what it was.
If you don't want to be gay married, then don't be gay married.
So that's what
ain't nobody forcing you.
What really concerns me is contraception. He wants to overturn the right to contraception, and he's not the only one. And it concerns me because they say it's pro-life, but then they want to take away things that will prevent us getting to the birth control, yeah. And it really concerns me. And they use the excuse pro-life, but if it was pro-life, then why is Miss Missy getting on the microphone talking about we saved white lives?
Okay, so I'm getting ready to play this.
Oh,
and I'm going to play it because I sent it to y'all on Instagram. But look, we're going to get into
the
Jane
real
Elliott
reason
and the real reason why they're trying to do that. I've been saying,
President Trump, on behalf of all the MAGA patriots in America, I want to thank you for the historic victory for white life in the Supreme Court yesterday.
That was at his Save America rally. Now listen, if it comes out that wasn't exactly what she said, first of all,
that's exactly what she said.
But you know how they do this.
She coming back and saying that's not what she meant.
She meant it.
Yeah, okay.
Look, Jane Elliott done said this years ago.
We knew Jane Elliott. Oh my God.
We knew that white people were going to be the minority. We've known this for years. Matter of fact, my coworker, she said she was in high school in 2012. A little bit older than you, and somewhat a lot older than you. She graduated in 2012, I believe. I can't remember. Anywho, she was telling me that they started talking about this when she was in high school. She's in her 30s. And so this ain't no big surprise. So, and this is the other thing that they wanted to do this. White people knew they were going to be the minority, and they don't want to be the minority. Listen. There are lots of theories of why they don't want to be the minority. Who cares? The fact of the matter is they need white women to push out white babies because they're not. Mm-hmm. They're not having babies at the rate that they need to continue their majority status. That has been my argument from the beginning. And as far as its effect
so Ukrainian refugees
BIPOC women, it's just a casualty that they could not think about. They don't care who they affect.
It aligns with what they're trying to do anyway.
It does. So it's like, yeah, who cares? But I have always said that. I always thought that.
The moment we knew that Roe v. Wade was up for being overturned, we knew immediately why.
We know why? Because they don't care about us. They ain't never cared about no black babies.
They definitely don't. Oh no. Black women keep the black baby.
Stop, please.
Because all they gonna do is
Now, I did
Never
see
mind,
this
I said that part.
on TikTok, and it was a white woman, and she was talking. This is before the decision was actually handed out, when it was just leaked, and she eloquently put this, and I love the way she said it. She was saying that she was like, I'm a white woman who has money and resources. She said, I'm going to be okay if I decide I don't want to have a baby. And she actually did the video with a child. It was a small child that she had in front of her. And she was like, if I don't want to have a baby, if I find myself pregnant, I want to have an abortion, I can do that. She said, if they banned abortion in the entire U.S., I will have the money to go to another country and have a safe abortion. She said, so I'm not worried about that. I am worried about those women who don't have those resources. And that's the part that gets under my skin, is those women who don't have the resources, those women who are in abusive relationships, those children who are being raped and who are victims of incest and who are being forced to carry out to term a child and relive that trauma. Now, look, we saw that in a little Jubilee YouTube video. Not everybody looks at the product of their rape as traumatic and reliving it. But what about those who do? And again, that woman who was in that video who said that she had been violently raped and she gotten pregnant by her abuser, and who he was using that to control her, but she still wanted the baby. That's your choice.
You got the choice.
And see, that's the thing. It's your choice. And no one should force you to do anything, especially for those particular people. Now, I would say initially, years ago, and coming out of the cult, actually when I was in the cult, we thought abortion was wrong. So I know how my family feels. Absolutely know how they feel.
Oh, yeah. What was it? One of my aunts, she literally said, why do you want to murder children? And it's just
that's what we had a whole magazine about it.
It's so ignorant to say that, because first of all, it's not a child. You don't even call babies children. So don't even say you're murdering a child when it's just a fetus.
So I know how our family feel.
To me, it seems very harmful to say you're murdering children, because that's how we got to where we are. It seems very ignorant to say that, because I feel like these are just, I guess I want to say, trigger words.
They are.
Just so you can push your point of view across to say, oh, you're murderers because it's a child. It's not a child.
And I'm going to tell you, fetus. I remember.
It is a fetus. They don't call it a child.
No, I remember reading about it growing up in the cult. And one of the things I will never forget what they said. They said when the baby is sucked out of the woman, it cries. What? Yes, they put it.
More reason.
Do you
not to
know
be in that cult.
I was terrified, even though I wasn't pregnant, I wasn't looking for no abortion. That terrified me as a child that this was happening. But that's the language that they use. It was traumatic. Oh my God,
fetuses are screaming even though they don't got a mouth or
it literally said that. That's what they taught, and so that's how I grew up, and that's what I believed. And abortion, like I've said before, it was never an issue for me. I've been very fortunate. I've never been in a position where I felt that I needed to have an abortion. I'm very fortunate. However, being at my age and stage in life with 2 daughters, I am devastated. I'm outraged. I'm angry. I'm disgusted that my children may not have that same luxury that I have. I've had lived all my life up to 47. And now all of a sudden, this is coming in to be a problem. And I think about you and people who can carry children that's your age and in these childbearing years, not having a choice, and what that is going to do, and the fear that that's going to put in to those who don't have the resources, like that woman on TikTok who said, I will always have the resources because I'm a privileged white woman. Mm-hmm. And it's not just privileged white women, it's privileged. There are privileged Black women. The point is, there are people who aren't, who are going to go through desperate measures, or who are going to be forced to have a child they don't want. None of that is okay for me. None of that is okay.
Not only that, but abortion is a healthcare right. It's not just for women who were raped, or women who are pregnant, or
Mm-mm.
girls who are pregnant from incest, or just because they don't want it. It's also a medical right. Some women literally need an abortion to live. Some pregnancies, it doesn't matter what you do, that baby's gonna die. And if it's not, if it's not taken out of the woman, if an abortion does not occur, she also dies. So what is pro-life about taking away that access to women that need it?
What about that Jubilee YouTube we said, and the white guy who was on there, he was like, but science can come.
Okay, well, science.
Okay, science is
that
not
has
there,
okay,
and
science is
when
not
we gonna
there.
wait?
So
We gonna say, okay,
so we're
try to
gonna
stay pregnant.
We're gonna allow these women to die because you're pro-life and because of your religion or whatever messed up reason you have. You're gonna allow them to die based off a hypothetical science
He really did
procedure.
say that, y'all.
So we're gonna allow these women to die because of a hypothetical.
Oh, but science could possibly maybe help. Possibly maybe.
And that it sounds great for that to happen, but it hasn't happened.
What if
So,
it don't? Then where
shouldn't
are
be
you?
gambling on a woman's life
Again, not
based
you.
based off of something that does not exist. That procedure does not exist, because if it did, they wouldn't be performing abortions.
They would offer that first. We both said at the same time. And he was a whole clown. But anyway, so now what? What do we do? Now I do want to bring up a story that my coworker told me. And we were talking about abortions, and she said that apparently she had one, and she was like, I don't know what I would have done if that wasn't an option. And so when I hear stories like that, and I like that you said it doesn't have to be incest or rape, but you just don't know. And I didn't go in deeper with her. She shared what she wanted to share. She was like, I don't know what I would have done, because she had that option. And those are the women that I think about. The ones who say, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have that as an option. Why are we going to put them in that position? I am mortified that there are going to be people who put in that position where they can't say, I don't know what I would have done. And instead they're going to say, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, the women that need it for medical reasons because they want to live.
Because there are states who have a no excuse abortion laws. It's ridiculous.
So what about those women that need it for medical reasons and they don't have the money to leave the state? So they're just supposed to die?
Yeah, it bothers me. Are they supposed to stay in an abusive relationship? Are they supposed to, give birth to a child that they are not prepared for? All the things, like, it just.
If you are listening to this and you're pro-life, I want you to understand the lives that you have
100% didn't know pro-lifers here.
Probably not, but if they happen to come across this podcast or they happen to hear this, I want you to understand what you truly have done to the women in this country. Because I feel like a lot of pro-lifers think that women that get abortions, they just go in there for like kicks and giggles and whatever, and just use that as a form of birth control. Some women
they mentioned that on that.
Some women do, but that's not majority of the women that get abortions. The women that get abortions, I'm sorry, not women. The women and girls who get abortions, some of them are as young as 9 and 10 years old. Can you comfortably sit there and say with your whole chest that you will allow your 9-year-old daughter to give birth to a child that she clearly cannot take care of, might not even cannot physically birth that child? What about women who need it to live? I just want you all to understand, the pro-lifers that has something to do with this getting overturned, to understand how many women you have just killed because of your personal belief. How many women you have just sentenced to death. To death. Not that they're just, it's just going to be a miscarriage and they're going to go about their lives and they have to get over it, or they're going to give birth to a child they don't want to, it's going to go into the foster care system. No. You have sentenced these women to death because of your religious beliefs, because of your scientific reasons, which a lot of them, which I don't know how you can be a scientist and think that this is a child and not a clump of cells or a fetus, what they scientifically call it. I
Well,
just
and
want
then
you
they-
to sit there and I want you to understand just how many women that you have killed because their blood is on your hands.
Well, what about this whole? Oh, you just have the baby and we'll put them. What somebody can adopt them. Have y'all seen the foster care system in the U.S.?
Okay, so
Like,
I didn't really wanna
this is why I
talk
say
deeply
they are
about this part.
pro-birth.
They are pro-birth
They're not
because
pro-life.
let me just, and I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this part because because I don't have enough statistics and facts, but I do have enough to talk about some of it. But when you put these children and these babies into foster cares, some of them never find a home. So do you
Mhm.
think it's fair for a child to live their life jumping from home to home? A lot of them, they get placed in homes where they are raped, so the cycle continues. The cycle of trauma continues. They give birth to a child. They can't get rid of it because you made it your point to make sure children couldn't get rid of it. You are just not affecting that woman. Like it's not just a one thing that's being affected. This is a domino effect. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a woman who's raped. She can't get it aborted, so she has to have the child. She's going to put in the foster care system. Sadly, that child might be put into a foster care home where they are raped, and then they will also have a child. And that trauma will keep happening, passing it on and on and on to each generation. And it concerns me because we have a high percentage of sex trafficking in this country. Some of those kids will be sex trafficked. So when you say that they can just be they can be taken to foster care, be put in the foster care system, or they can be adopted, a lot of these kids aren't being adopted.
No, they're not.
In
But
fact,
yes,
Black children are the least to be adopted, and Black women will be affected the most by not abortion ban. Well, the abortion ban in states.
yeah. I mean, it's here. We're living it.
So,
This isn't a dream, even though if it were, it would be a horrible nightmare.
but
But-
nightmare, not the dream. The American dream, American nightmare.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what you should call it, American nightmare.
So, what do we do?
So
Now, I
I've
want to be
been
able to help.
debating this for like a few weeks of how I can help. I have no idea what to do. I was thinking maybe I should protest, and I was just personally, I don't think protesting is gonna help this time.
We got to change the laws.
Yeah,
We got to get people
we need to be
in
more
office.
aggressive.
Oh my gosh, we have to get more aggressive. I agree. We
Relying
have to be
on
more.
the Democratic Party to get anything done is like
Okay, so let's say nothing happens. Do you leave the country or move to a sanctuary state? I don't know. I definitely want to
leave the
leave.
country.
I definitely
because
want to leave, but
Pence just now he tweeted this, and Pence ain't got no power anymore. But if Pence is thinking this, he's pushing it. Then that means a lot of politicians are pushing it too. But they're pushing for a national abortion ban. So it doesn't matter if you're in a blue state if they ban abortion nationwide. So there won't be any sanctuary state because it ain't legal anywhere.
true and true. Well, we're gonna keep updating. We'll see and watch as this unfolds. My plan, of course, is still to leave in 2024 when my youngest graduates from college, unless something changes. That is my plan as of now. And look, it's not a bad plan. I feel like not just like I said, since that clown became in the office in 2016, I was definitely interested, but my reasoning for wanting to leave has changed. I want to experience other countries. I feel like one of the things that I can do that my ancestors couldn't is have a choice to live wherever I want to. And so, speaking of my ancestors, I do want to update those of you who've been listening to my solo episodes about the library card.
Finally sent it.
She finally sent it because my grandma is a strength gangster. So let me recap for you. I have been tracing my ancestry. I got to a point because of our background being slaves that it was suggested that I check the state's records, and I needed a library card for that. I contacted my grandmother. She went out in her 80s and got the library card, sent it by one of my siblings.
Shout out to Nana.
Sent it by one of my siblings who didn't even tell me she had the freaking card. My grandma calls me, asked me, did I get it? I didn't know what she was talking about.
I think she sent the card to Asia.
No.
Took a picture of it.
No. That's not, you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about initially, but this is before y'all got involved. Mention her name. So, then it was a couple attempts to get the card and excuse after excuse after excuse of why I couldn't get the card. Then I knew that this was going to be a problem. The last conversation about trying to get the interaction, trying to get the card, I was at my sibling's home to get the card, and was told through my daughters, of course, as they don't talk to me, that the card, they was unable to find it. So I debated whether I should get my grandma involved, and I knew for a fact that if I told my grandma that I would get that card. So, honey, I did. I called her. I told her, and you know what she said? She said, oh, she can't find it. I said, no. She said, let me call her. So she called. Very next day, we get a text through my daughter. Card has miraculously been found. They mailed it. It was mailed, and I received it. So hopefully I'll be able to get some good news as far as getting more information about our ancestry. I'm looking forward to that. We don't know what we're going to find, but I definitely just want to try, right? So that's why I'm going to end on a high note. This was part 2 of X versus Z, Roe versus Wade decision from the Supreme Court that we both hate. I was supposed to do a solo episode, but these 2-parters are really, really great. Not sure when the next solo episode is going to come because this counts as 2 episodes. But regardless, thank you so much for all your support. The Other Side of 45. Don't forget, check us out on Instagram and on the website, and Bougie Canvas, and
BOU.
Make sure you rate these episodes. Lord have mercy.
Canvas Studios.
She's very glad she's my child. And until next time, have a great day and keep supporting us.
Wait, hold on. I have one more thing I have to say. Just one more, okay? Okay, I was trying to play a song.
We are not doing a song because we're not. All right, we're done. Thank you.